Music matters. Fat Evil Children. Woo! Good morning.
Boom.
How you doing, gentlemen? Thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, of course. I love a morning interview over coffee. There aren't enough like early ones. You're all here coffeeed out. Hell yeah. How you guys doing? I know you just had a couple of shows up in Northern California with Frat Mouse and some other cool bands. What's new in your world? How you guys feeling?
Feeling good. Yeah.
Feeling good, feeling great.
Feeling good, feeling great. Yeah, we were in Santa Cruz with Frat Mouse.
It's a sick show.
It was sick, yeah.
Like house show, like floor was gonna like cave.
Yeah.
Love
A
this.
window broke,
Yeah.
actually.
The window
yeah.
did break. Not during our set, thank God.
How'd the window break?
I don't really know.
That's a good question.
I think it was
guess.
some like intense like.
I mean, I
emotion
saw
kick in.
legitimate. I was like almost terrified. It was like it was as close to a tidal wave of people as you can get. It was kind of like it was such a small room where like
Yeah.
if the mosh pit was going in a direction, it was gonna
It was
go
over.
that direction till you hit the wall.
Yeah.
So it would just kind of go back and then forward, and then every time it would come forward, the mic, I'd be singing into the mic, and it would like. I'd like dodge and it would just like go right past me, like would take my tooth out. So it was
Yeah.
kind of terrifying, but it was fun. It was a
Yeah.
barn burner.
House shows have a special energy, dude. Like, I feel like there's some shows that can only be recreated at a house party like that in that kind of setting, and it's always weird because you always like want to embrace and lean into the chaos, but then like at a certain point you're like, all right, like how much do I want to like
How far can we
yeah
me and Autry were like standing in the back and like felt the floor like bouncing.
yeah
It was
dude.
like a little
The foundation.
That's
was
what
so
dreams are
shaky.
made of, though. Like, I feel like you grow up, like, there's, like, certain iconic house show videos on YouTube that, like,
Yes.
shape who you are as a person.
The Denny's
And then-
Grand Slam.
Yeah, dude, that's one of them.
Dude,
That's a real,
mhm.
that's so real.
classic.
Yeah.
There's so many of those, like, just, like, gigs where it's, like, this band is too big for this room, and that's how it should be, and it's
Yes.
fucking awesome, and it's always, like,
Those are the best shows.
It's the best.
Always the best shows. They're
Yeah,
the
dude.
best.
I do totally feel you in regards to like those are what that's kind of what dreams are made of. It's like you grow up watching those shows and you're like, damn, like look at all those people moving in that way, and one day I can be there and doing that. Do you guys know the Free the Youth guys? There's some like sick California promoters.
Yeah.
They threw
yeah.
a show at a church with like
Oh.
you probably could have fit like 200 people there. I think they put like 500 or something in that spot, and it's like
that's
a
nuts.
bunch of the house shows they've thrown have just looked nuts, dude.
That's awesome.
Dude, how'd the church let him do that?
I think like some kid they knew like had a connection to like the pastor or the guy who owned the church or something.
altar boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really know, but
I mean, there was
Yeah.
one stop on this tour that we just did where it was at a donut shop, and I haven't
Whoa.
seen so many people packed in to a place like that, and it was really bizarre too, because it was like a legitimate functioning 24-hour donut and coffee shop that was like nice.
it was open.
It was open. I got a
So you
donut
could get
and
a
coffee.
donut?
Yeah, before I played, and it was like
So
the
sick.
craziest thing because it was like, but then it's like a legitimate mosh pit, like insane. I saw this kid crowd surfing, like pulling on the light fixture, and I was like, dude, you can't do that. This is like a business. Like, oh my god, like please don't do that.
No.
You're like, brother, they're paying rent. This is a
Yeah.
place of business.
I was like, dude, this is bad. Like, what the fuck? But it was awesome. People
Yeah.
were going crazy, and it was a donut shop.
That's so
Shout
sick.
out Slow Doko.
Slow Doko.
Yep.
Do they throw more? Have they thrown like multiple shows there before? Is
I
that a new
think-
spot?
I think there's I don't know honestly. They've definitely done a bunch of shows though.
That is so
yeah,
sick.
they talk about it as like a thing. It was really cool. Yeah, in San Luis Obispo, it was awesome.
I gotta look into that. That's super cool.
Yeah.
There's a spot in the Bay Area where I'm from called Stay Gold Deli, and it's just like a deli, and it's very similar. It's just a functioning deli,
So-
and like they just throw punk shows, like,
Mhm.
and it's like a very small space. Like Stay Gold is probably about like I would say the dining room's about the size of this garage,
Wow,
and then
that's
there's like a
awesome.
kitchen. Yeah, but more narrow. Yeah, it's almost like if you like kind of like the width of this, or like I guess the length of this garage, but more narrow.
That's awesome.
It's like crazy, but they just throw like full-on punk shows in there, and the dudes who make the sandwiches just like sit there and watch, and like
Dude,
they'll
they're,
serve
still
people.
making sandwiches.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy,
That's
dude.
so
That's
sick.
so awesome. Well, it was like that in the donut shop, and it's cool because it's not alcohol, so it's
Yeah.
like everyone's just chilling.
Yeah.
Like everyone's just getting coffee and stuff, and it's like it just felt, I don't know, it was just really cool. And they're selling so much coffee and
Yeah.
donuts. I was like, I see why they do this. This is
Yeah.
awesome, and
Yeah.
it makes it so cool because it's like legitimate like emo band playing in the
Yeah.
back. But there was like gnarly. Kid Calico played. It was awesome. It was like just going off, and it's like a normal. And there's people like studying, and they just were there.
What?
I was like, what? How do you?
Like
but
for
it's-
school?
Yeah, I guess so. For
What
Cal
time was
Poly
the
probably,
show?
or not Cal. No,
Was
no,
it like
I don't remember.
a night show? Like what time do you guys play?
Yeah, it was at night. It was like 8. It was like late. It ended up going to like 11 because it's a 24-hour donut shop.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's just like
And then
always
it stayed
open.
open after y'all were
Yeah.
done.
That's a genius venture in itself, a 24-hour donut shop, and then add the
Yeah.
punk shows on top of it.
Yeah.
These guys are just master
Yeah,
marketers.
yeah.
Yeah.
You guys ever been to Doughnut Hut in Burbank?
No.
I'm obsessed
Yeah.
with it right
I
now.
love Doughnut Hat.
So
That's the
so good.
red one with the yellow. And
Yep.
Autry has this photo that Bob Dylan painted of the Doughnut Hat.
Oh, what? That's crazy.
He has it in
it's
his
not
possession.
like the actual one.
Oh,
it's like
okay.
A
replica,
Doughnut Hat?
But he painted the Doughnut Hat. like
Would you
Bob
guys mind
Dylan.
holding that mic? Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank
My
you. Appreciate it.
bad.
No, you're good, bro. It's so fun. No, yeah. Do you guys like playing in Northern California a bit more than Southern California, or do you feel like more hometown when you're back here? And are you guys from LA, or you just lived here the past couple of years?
Well, Nick is from LA.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'm from LA.
I'm from San Diego.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm from Dallas.
Okay.
I'm from Chicago.
Damn. So that's like 4 different parts of the country. That's crazy. So like 4 very, very different parts of the country too.
Yeah. But we've been living in LA for a little bit.
Gotcha.
Couple years.
Do you
several years.
Do you feel like influence-wise, you guys pull from so many different things because of the fact that you're like literally from polar opposite parts of the country all over you?
I do think so, yeah.
Yeah,
Totally.
I would say so.
That's super sick.
Certainly.
But you all met at USC, right?
Correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
When you guys all first met, was there like a big scene at USC, and was there like a lot of music around you, that other bands you were playing with in your sound, or no?
No, I think that's probably why we
Yeah.
became friends, was because there
Uh-huh.
wasn't really much of anything, and so it's like the 4 people that had something going on that was similar, like sort of just came
Yeah.
together.
Gotcha. So it was like there weren't a lot of other people around doing like a similar style of music to you guys. So when you all met, it just clicked like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think all of us were really like similarly focused on making a certain type of feeling and doing it in a certain type of way. And
Yeah.
and I think it was really instant that we all agreed that it was cool. It was like when I joined the band, I joined a little late, and I went to Joshua Tree. They were all in Joshua Tree recording the EP, and they had invited me out, so I drove out. And the minute that I got there, I was like, these people know what the fuck is good, because it
Yeah.
was just the vibe. Everyone was doing it for everyone just wanted to make music, and everyone wanted to make music that was
Everyone was
fucking. Everyone was shirtless.
Everyone was
Everyone was
shirtless.
drunk.
That's how you know.
And we were in Joshua Tree, and everyone was just absolutely on one. And I think sometimes you just know when everyone's doing it, like this is for the fucking money, and like everyone just wants to do it. Like
Yeah.
everyone was having like one of the best times of their life, and everyone knew it.
True.
And
Wow.
that was what was super
Honestly.
fun about it. And I think that's the feeling that you want when you're making music. And yeah,
Yeah, dude, 100%. And I think it's hard to even strike the balance of because it's difficult, right? Obviously, you want to take everything seriously, and taste is incredibly important. But it's also if you're not prioritizing fun, bro, what are you doing?
well, I believe that
true.
microphones are fucking magical things that capture exactly what the fuck you put into them. And
Yeah.
if you're not having fun, it's obvious. And if you are having fun, it's obvious. And it makes
100%.
music so good. If you're
Yeah.
making it while you're having fun, it is infinitely better than if you're making it while you're stressing, or you're making it while you're anything. Unless the music is supposed to be like that, obviously. But I'm just saying, if you want your music to be fun, you have to be having fun.
Hmm.
Yeah.
You can't just make it fun because you want it to be fun.
Yeah, for sure. I feel very similarly to just performing in general. I think it's so easy to tell when I think it's really hard to be in a bad place on stage and not have it show through. You really, I think
Yeah.
having fun on stage makes the crowd just infinitely more involved, and they want to give you more because you're giving them more,
Yeah, totally.
Totally.
When you guys were at USC kind of doing the whole thing, do you think being in college at the time made it easier or more difficult to pursue an artist project? Was it difficult to kind of pursue those 2 things at the same time? Were you having trouble balancing anything?
I feel logistically it made it harder.
Yeah.
Just because we had so many classes and we had so many things going on, and so when we were recording this album, literally the only 2 times where we were fully able to record were Sunday night and Tuesday night after 8. But I'm sorry,
Definitely.
all of Sunday and Tuesday night after 8.
Yeah.
And so I think logistically, but I think emotionally, and musically, I think it made it easier.
Mm-hmm.
I think musically it made it easier because we were all us 3 at least were in music school, and Nick was in film school, and we were all in the same program. We were doing music production, and so I think in that way having to do music for school is sometimes frustrating,
Uh-huh.
and having an outlet to do it with your friends and in the way that you want to do it.
Yeah.
I think felt very freeing and very nice. You know?
Yeah, that's super interesting because I guess even the stuff it's not you're making projects at school and the ones you're submitting as the kind of stuff that you'd put out on DSPs or something. It's obviously a different thing. So I guess there would be a double life there where you're a student musician, but you're also just a pursuing musician,
Yeah.
But I kind of think I think that's definitely true, and we've talked about that, and I definitely have felt that.
Yeah.
But when I look back, I think it was actually way better than I realized, because even though you're making stuff for school, it's like you're still doing music, and all of our only goal was to do this, and we had time to do it because we were all privileged and blessed enough to be in college, where it's like this is what we're supposed to be doing, and and I think it was really fun. It was really fun to be with a bunch of people, and I still feel like this is true, but because we lived in such close proximity and all of us had the same goal, and all of us were every day, all day working on this type of thing, I think it was really beneficial and like super fun to be in college. And now that we're out, it's like definitely, it's different. We maybe have like a similar amount of time, honestly, but it's just as good, but it's different. But I think there's something about being somewhere where everyone is focused on the same thing and we all work together pretty much.
Living close to each other. It's huge.
I was gonna say too, like all living at the school, I imagine, or like within the proximity of it, is definitely huge. Especially in LA, where like there's bands that live 30 minutes apart, you know?
And it's sweet because you're playing right there too. Like the shows that you're playing are right there, so it just feels like you have this like practice, fake, not real life, but it is real life. It's a place to do it where you can like get a feel for everything, and it's not like, you know, the gig is 5 minutes away and then like we can practice, and then it's like super, everyone's really focused, and it's a small community, and it was like really fun.
That's a super good way to put it. Like almost like this sounds weird, but like a training facility where it's like you can like experiment within the confines of this small solidified place, and then when you go out and do everything else, it seems a little bit less scary. Were you guys playing a bunch of shows at USC when you first started, and how were those first couple shows?
Yeah, I feel like it wasn't like a bunch. I mean, we played like a bunch of house shows. I think that was probably the main thing that happened. We had some friends who had a big house, and so we played a few shows at their place. But
yeah, I feel like it started to pick up the more we played shows.
Gotcha.
I think we played like a couple house shows at first, and then the more we played shows, I think the more people started to hit us up for other shows.
How different do the shows outside of like the house show USC community type stuff feel versus the stuff that's internalized there? Is it like, I mean, because I feel like the college shows that I've seen always are just like very, very good energy. People really want to give you energy.
Yeah, they were fun. I mean, it's definitely different than playing like a venue, like your El Cid or whatnot.
Yeah,
I mean, they're not too different, I guess, but they're fun.
No, that makes sense. How did you guys all meet in college? Like, did you have classes together, or you said you were all in the same program, right? So did you just like kind of meet that way?
Yeah, well, us three were in the same program. Me
same
and Nick,
class, same year.
Me and Nick met at a party, I think, like sophomore year or something. And then him and Diego actually started playing together for his solo project, and then we eventually just started to do it together, like as a band.
Sick. Yeah, nice. Do you feel like the benefits of like meeting in college helped a lot? Because I feel like it definitely, if you're just meeting band members out in the industry or out wherever, it's definitely harder to kind of like cultivate a place where like you have a resemblance of a work-life balance, or I guess not a work-life balance, but a friendship work balance. Whereas like I feel like you're in college, there's just so many opportunities to do things together outside of music. Do you guys think that helped kind of curate your relationship outside of music?
Totally.
Yeah.
Especially like early on as like a band. Like I remember like that summer we spent, like we recorded that EP out in Joshua Tree, and then we just spent a bunch of time together just like hanging out as like friends, and it felt like, I don't know, it felt like very like kid for a sec. You know what I mean, which was so nice, where we were just like friends and hanging out and like eating and cooking and like playing video games and like hanging out. Just like, you know, that was like such a sick time, and I think that like really prepared us to like, then later on when we started really, really working and really making music at a very like high rate, it felt like more like natural, and there was like love all involved, you know?
I've never been in a band that wasn't like a friend group first. I mean, this is, I guess, kind of like, but I feel like we were like friends right away, and then we became friends equally as fast as we became a band. At least when I know you guys, just from my experience, like joining the band and everything, like it was always fun. And I think that it was never like, okay, I'm going to work. It was always like, I'm going to go have fun, and like we're probably going to record, but it's going to be fun for sure. And I think that it goes back to the thing about like, if you're not having fun, it's not going to sound fun. And I think that we always have a blast. So
yeah. I think there's also a level of like writing about a shared experience there opposed to an individualized experience that's really important. Like I think I notice this a lot when bands like first start touring, like early in their career. I feel like when artists are living, or when I guess members of a band are living together so closely, like maybe not in the same house or whatever, but you know they're with each other every other day or every day, a lot of the times they begin writing about like a shared feeling or a shared experience, opposed to like individualized stories that each member of the band is bringing to the product. Do you guys feel like you're writing more about things you experience together, or are you writing more about like individualized things in your personal lives?
I feel like it's mostly just personal, honestly. Like, we spend time together, but honestly, like, not that much. Like, we'll see each other like maybe once a week now, maybe twice at max.
Especially now that we moved.
Yeah, we used to be like 5 minutes apart driving, and now it's like 20 minutes, and so
Gotcha.
it's like feels like a big distance in Los Angeles, maybe. But so the writing is mostly like individual experience.
Gotcha, that makes sense. How strange has it been, like, in that, because you guys just graduated, right, this year? How was the first like post college year been? I know that's like I didn't really go to college, but I know for a lot of people that is like a pretty crazy and transitional time. Has it felt like stressful or exciting, or?
Yeah, I don't like school, so I'm really happy that I'm not there anymore. It's been nice. It's been good. Definitely an adjustment to like figure out the schedule and like prioritize what I genuinely find important. But yeah.
How about you guys?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, it is a big change. You know, not having that like school every day. So yeah, I don't know. It's a big adjustment, but it just takes some getting used to, I guess.
Yeah, you sort of decide what you want to do every day.
Yeah.
You're not like obligated to go to like earthquakes.
Yeah, I'm actually not graduated yet, but I'm about to be.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I have like one more semester to go, but so I don't know.
Damn, that's a balancing act, bro. You're doing everything you're doing.
Well, I
school.
fuck with it though, because I'm in some cool ass classes. I'm in this class, History of Drugs.
What?
Really
Yeah,
cool.
dude, that's
it's actually sick. I could talk for like a long time about like really cool shit that I've learned in that class about like all sorts of drugs. And,
Do you
like,
want
cool
to?
stuff. Well, did you know that like beer predates bread? So there's theory that the human race invented farming in order to cultivate a steady supply of beer.
Wow.
How does beer predate bread?
Well, it's just
It's
like
yeast, right? It's all yeast,
wheat.
so it's like, or
it's
wheat.
all wheat. Yeah,
Oh,
so it's like
nice.
fermenting wheat, or like
Killed that.
it might be like fruits. They also turn fruits into alcohol before beer, but it's true apparently that bread predates or beer predates bread, which is really insane.
Yeah, that is insane.
And
It's probably harder to make bread than it is to make beer. To be
totally,
honest
but
with
also
you.
beer is like you
from
drink
wheat.
beer and you're like, we need more of this.
Right. That's like
You know what I mean?
Bread, you're like, it's cool.
Like for sure, yeah, bread is like, this is awesome, but like beer is like, we need more of this. for sure.
Yeah.
And so that made me feel like connected to my ancestors for sure. And then there's other things that like it's really fascinating, like weed. The way that weed was consumed in ancient Egypt and in a lot of other societies was they would get a big bowl, because they had a lot of it. Hence the name weed. They put the weed
What do you
in
mean?
the
Hence
bowl.
the name weed.
It grows like a weed, so there's so much of it.
Oh, that's why they call it. Oh.
Yeah, because it's weed's actually really easy to grow. Like it will just grow crazy wild. And so they would put a bunch of it in this bowl and then light it and just hotbox rooms as like rituals. It's awesome.
Like
They'd be
incense.
in church, they're just
No, he
burning
said
like
that.
pounds of weed.
Just like incense.
Yeah,
like
they wasn't incense. Yeah, totally.
what?
Isn't that fascinating?
I was just reading this article about like how the weed that we have now is like literally incomparable to the weed they had hundreds of years ago, and it's like not even the same drug anymore.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting because like it's not even just in the past like 20 years. It's in the think about the weed our parents smoked when they were our age versus the shit that we're smoking, like this genetically modified like 99% THC shit, dude.
I get so annoyed. They're like, you should try the THCA diamonds. I'm like, give me pot.
Yeah.
I want just the normal shit. Like it actually bothers me. I'm like, I don't want this fucking dumbass bullshit, like dust in the weed, like all this weird chemical shit. Like I just want the fucking pot, dude.
You don't rock with the Rick and Morty weed?
No, I don't want
the
this crazy
Fortnite
shit.
carts. Like
the best weed. My dream in life is to know somebody who grows their own weed.
Yeah, dude.
It's true, yeah.
That shit's hella easy.
You could just
Right, it's so
yeah. You
easy.
just said it.
You guys got me, yeah. You actually got me. You know, I should do that.
I don't like weed very much, but I think when I have good weed experiences, it's because I'm just smoking like normal like 30 or 40% THC weed, not like the fucking crystallized moon rock 99%
Dude,
Fortnite cart.
40% is still too much.
Insane.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually ridiculous.
No, yeah, you want someone. One time I was in the Bay and my friend's I was in the Bay and my friend's dad was growing this pot, and I was like, holy shit, this is actual weed. Like it was like, this is like so much different than like the bullshit garbage
This is like chill.
that they sell in LA.
Yeah.
Even though LA's supposed to have really good weed. And I think they probably do, but I'm just not buying really good weed.
Yeah.
Because I would also go into a dispensary and be like, what's the cheapest, most amount you can get?
Yeah.
So maybe it's my fault.
Well, I think it depends on what you want too. Like, I don't like.
Sounds like it's your fault.
Yeah. Well, because in my eyes, like I don't want to smoke and just be like blitzed. Like that's just like not.
See, that's where we're
fun.
different.
Yeah. See, that's just not me.
Incapacitated.
Well, then
How
why
much
don't you
weed
get
can
the
I
best
smoke
shit
is
then?
the thing that crosses my mind every time before I smoke weed.
I had like the worst weed experience I've ever had like a month and a half ago. I don't know if I'll ever smoke weed again.
Dude,
Oh,
it does that.
It does
I got
that.
home from like a concert, so like it's crazy I'm talking about this right now. But got home from a concert, I was like, whatever, smoke a bowl, go to bed. But we have this like huge bag of shake that our friend gave us, and it's like shake from like a long time. So like there's got to be like ridiculously strong weed in there, and then just like very like middle of the road or whatever. Yeah, it's just like a
bag will get you too.
yeah, it's just like a bunch of shake. So anyway, I was like, all right, whatever, chill. Pack a bowl, go to bed. Within 30 seconds, I was like the highest I've been in my entire life, and I don't know how. I
30 seconds?
within like a minute and 30
okay,
seconds,
okay,
like a
okay.
minute and 30 seconds, and it was like, to be honest, like I did snap like half the bowl by
thought you ate
accident. What'd you say?
I thought you ate an edible. And
Oh,
like,
no, no,
30s,
no,
I was
no,
like,
no.
Oh my god, dude.
No, oh my god, Jesus Christ, no, yeah, but
It's terrifying.
but like so fast, I was just so baked, and then like it was like 1 o'clock, and I didn't sleep till like 7 a.m. and I couldn't sleep, and I was high for like 13 hours. It was
Awful.
just having a panic attack. It was bad, really bad.
That's awful.
Anyway, though, I don't, yeah, it's hit or miss. You
No,
never
weed
know.
is like that. You can't, yeah. Dude, yeah. Alcohol never lets you down, though.
Yeah, dude, I know. But that's like the scary part, low key.
I know.
It's like I've never, like people say, like, oh, I've had a bad high. I've never had a bad drunk. You know?
Yeah, I don't know. I've had a bad drunk. Right? Like,
Sebby immediately goes, oh.
Well, it like gets, it gets bad at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Not like, I guess, well, yeah, I don't know.
while
It's
you're
great in the
drinking, it's
beginning.
good, always.
Yeah.
Mhm.
If you're actively drinking, it's always good.
Yeah.
It's when you stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is true. It is when you stop.
Yeah.
It's true.
Well, yeah.
You know, there's a
never
thing about
stop.
that. The dopamine that gets released. This is another history of drugs fact for you.
Okay.
The dopamine that gets released when you're drinking only gets released while your blood alcohol is on the rise. So you're only feeling the good effects of alcohol while you're increasing the amount of alcohol in your blood.
So I should
So
keep
if
drinking.
you stagnate, it stops feeling good, and if it drops, you start feeling bad.
Yeah.
Which is why you have to keep drinking.
Interesting.
why you keep-
Yeah.
yeah.
So the lesson there is like never stop drinking.
Yeah.
If you're
It's
gonna
like-
drink, fucking drink.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I actually do feel the same way. Yeah.
Listen, bro.
I actually don't condone that. I think you should drink I like drinking like 3 beers.
I was gonna say, what do you think is the ideal amount of beers?
I think personally 8.
Dude, what? We actually had this conversation last night. Actually, it was different. Is how many could you drink? I think it was really that.
Well, that's different.
No, but I think
It's a different question.
Dude.
I think the best part.
Oh my
okay,
God.
so you open your first beer. You're sipping your first beer. You get like a little bit of like you're like, oh, this is great. And then you open your second beer. You're excited, so you drink like half of it really quickly. That feeling
yes.
after that. And then you're like, damn, this is the best. That's like the best.
Yeah.
And then I'd have the third beer, and then it's like, okay, this is really fun. And then usually I'd either stop there or I'm like gonna get fucking drunk.
Yeah.
And I feel like if I'm deciding that I'm gonna get drunk, it's like always a mistake, but it's obviously fun. And then if I stop there, it's good. So I
Yeah.
usually just try to like 3 is good.
I strongly feel that drinking 2 beers very fast is the ideal amount of beer.
I actually totally agree with you.
Yeah.
I think
You
there's
know?
something.
I could get behind that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's something about doing drugs quickly.
Something about it, man.
There's something about that.
Oh my god.
Dude, another history of drugs fact. I read this thing in a fucking textbook. It told me
Okay.
there's some historians believe that changing one's state of mind is as integral a drive as food and sex.
Changing one's state of mind. So like
getting
via
drunk
drugs
quickly.
or
Yes.
or getting drunk quickly.
Yeah.
Historians
Like
believe
changing how you think. Yeah.
Mm.
Because it's like in
Yeah.
every
I get
culture
behind
they
that.
prioritize that.
That is very true.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I guess
It's always
West.
been like ritualistic.
Yeah.
You know what's
religious.
weird is
Yeah.
it was always like ritualistic and religious, but for whatever reason, like Western American culture just like calls it getting drunk, or like we're like, oh,
Well,
let's get
well,
fucked up.
That's
Like,
true, actually. Yeah.
you know,
well,
but-
alcohol has never really been ritualistic. It's always
hasn't?
been like no, it's well, I mean, not it has been like ritualistic, but not
Uh-huh.
like spiritual. But
Gotcha.
all the hallucinogens were hyper spiritual. You know, they used to take mushrooms before they'd go into battle.
What?
Whose idea is that?
Huh?
That sounds like a nightmare.
Wait, what?
Like in like
Yeah,
Who did
in, like
this?
Rome,
Who's doing that?
a lot of cultures like Greeks and Romans and stuff. And like, did you also know that the Romans had a fish head that when you eat it, it was basically like a precursor to like LSD, but it's in the
What?
head of a fish.
Does that fish still
What
exist?
part of
Yes.
the fish?
Yes, it does.
People don't eat it anymore.
No, because now they just have acid, I guess. but no, but
they
you
don't
can,
want the-
you can do like you can still eat the fish head. It's like a thing.
Is it like the brain in the fish, or like what
I
about
don't know.
the
Is it like
head?
rare?
I
Like,
think it's some gland.
can we
or
catch
something.
it?
You can get it, yeah.
Can I?
Where?
We
catch
should go on a
it?
fishing trip. That'd be sick.
That'd be sick.
That'd be really sick.
Can you cook it, or do you have to just eat it raw?
I don't know.
Dude,
No.
imagine
You
like
can Google it though. It's like I googled it. It's like a thing. You can.
imagine like just making a delicious fish dinner
Mm.
and then just like tripping
And then
after.
balls, yeah.
Dude, you could. Yeah. You could. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
What a cool class though. History of drugs.
Dude, it's really fun.
Yeah, I can't really. I don't feel like I took any class in college that I liked as much as that. But I also only went to community college for like a year and a half and didn't really get much out of it at all. How do you guys feel like the music production program at USC is? I went to like community college for music industry studies. Obviously, not comparable in the slightest. But like, I felt like I got to a point with it where I was just like, oh, I'm just learning things that I'm already doing. Like I remember like learning like for like a month and a half what A&R was, and I was like, oh, I don't need to be doing this. Do you guys feel like you learned a lot and took a lot from the music production classes you've been taking, and I guess just the music classes in general?
I do.
Yeah,
I think it's what you make of it.
it is what you make.
Because
of
you're
it,
making
100%.
music either way.
Yeah.
You can be like, oh, I'm not gonna try, or you can be like, okay, I'm gonna try to do this thing that I don't know how to do, and then you get better. And I
Yeah.
feel like I learned a lot from. I took so much.
Yeah.
You know what I got the most from, honestly, was like the music theory and ear training stuff. Like, because I was really like reluctant to do that because I was like, man, it's about the feel, man. Like, what the fuck? But then I learned all this crazy like theory, and I was like, this is actually really fucking cool.
Yeah.
And it makes it easier to play shit that I want to play anyway.
Did you grow up playing in like a non-theoretical way, like you kind of
Totally.
just playing by ear?
Yeah.
Nice.
Hmm.
Was that hard to like unlearn some of those habits and then like kind of apply the
I
theory?
got like C's and D's. I almost like failed all of these classes.
I failed music
It was
theory when I
really
in
hard.
college. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was incredibly hard.
Yeah.
Did you guys wait? So, speaking on like how you all started in music, more so, I know you were saying you just kind of grew up playing. Can you guys all talk a little bit of like how you found music in the first place and how you like kind of where the place that it held in your life growing up?
Hmm. Who wants to start?
Why don't you start?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Go
go
for
for
it.
I was walking
Well-
through a dark forest.
Yeah. And then something called out to me. No. My parents like were musical. Like I just always had like music in my family. Apparently like my grandpa was like an opera singer, and I had like a great grandma who was like, I think both my great
That's so cool.
grandmas were like pianists.
Wow.
That's new Diego lore.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
So I just I there's a lot of music in my family, and then my dad was in a band. He played guitar. And so like when I was growing up, there was just always like instruments around, and I think my parents noticed that I took a liking to like playing drums, and so they just like I was very fortunate to have like very supportive parents who like set me up early. You know what I mean? And I just have been playing since I was like very little.
Yeah.
Playing drums and piano, and then like little by little I just kept learning. Like I learned guitar and bass and stuff, and it just kind of like got me interested in like producing and making music. And
Yeah.
that was
Side
kind of my
side question real quick before the rest of you guys talk about this. Playing drums at a band like this is probably so interesting because it's like very different drumming than like a lot of music. I feel like where like so much of like what you're doing with the Fat Evil Children stuff is like the beauty and the simplicity of it, where it's like so much of it isn't based on like gigantic like, you know, linear fills or like things like that.
Yeah.
But like more so in the dynamics.
Yeah.
Like I think like Running is a good example of this, where like the drums in the song like build a lot, and like I just feel like it's really, especially when you're playing with a more acoustic driven backdrop, I would imagine like the drumming there is so particular, where like so much of it is like based around like building these moments and like dynamics and stuff.
Diego is an incredible drummer.
Yeah.
Diego is drumming, not thinking about playing the drums. He's thinking about the sound that he's making from the thing that he's doing, and because he plays like that and he's not locked into this like mentality of like I'm drumming, he's thinking about the sound. I don't even know if this is true, but this is just how it feels like when I hear you play. You're thinking about the sound, and you're taking full responsibility for the sound that you're making, and it's great, and it comes out great because you're doing that. Like it's not like you don't ever do like drummer shit because that's just what you do. It's always like fucking nice. And he's so dynamic. And it's great.
You guys are so nice.
Dude, it's true.
That is how I think about it, honestly. And I think it's like comes from, again, just being super lucky with my parents and everything. And like drumming became like somewhat second nature because I started so early. Like I just got so lucky in that way. And so yeah, at this point now, when I think about drumming, I really just think about playing with my friends.
Yeah.
I just think about like the music that we're making like in that moment together.
Yeah.
And I think that's also like Nick has always played very dynamically also. We've been playing for a long time, and I think just as a band very early on, like our songs were like very like dynamic space.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you get loud and you get quiet.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like the foundation for a lot of like really great rock music. And
Dude,
yes.
I've been obsessed with this like idea of like really nice musicianship played in a having fun type of way.
Yes.
And that is the best
Yeah.
music.
That's
That
the
is all my
best.
favorite music. Like
Absolutely.
it's like, I mean, there's a million examples, but it just is like really good. It's a really good musicianship, but played without trying to be like all like pretentious and everything. Like you're just a good musician and you know you are, and you're just gonna play, but you're gonna play for the love of the fucking game.
Yeah.
And, like, rock and roll type shit. Like it's not like,
Exactly.
you know what I mean?
You got to pass the rock.
Yeah,
You got
dude.
It is,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah.
You can't just. It's not a one-man show.
No.
I
And
think
it's-
this.
yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think this can be said for like every instrument, but I think it's especially true for bass players and drummers. I feel like you almost have to put ego aside a lot of the time to play things that fit the songs, because like there's some songs that a 4/4 and then the roots just fit incredibly well, and like you don't need much else, you know. And I think like being like all my favorite drummers are drummers that are like incredibly talented, but just play what fits the song always.
Yeah.
Ringo's an amazing example of this, like a drummer that just
Ringo's the goat.
plays to the track and like
Yeah.
whatever fits the song every single time, you know.
Well, Sebi was just talking about that with your bass lines, where you have like he has some incredible bass lines on this recent record.
Hey
And
man,
then
say what you will about Sebi, but he really did his thing on
He
Fool.
really did his thing on Fool. Shout out MF Mac, dude. Oh my god.
MF
shout out
Mac?
Who's
MF
he's got,
Mac?
dude, he's just
Yeah.
he's this guy from like New York.
He's our
right?
number one fan.
Dude, and he's just like so sick. He's always like DM'd us and stuff, and then one day he just like hit us out of the blue, and he was like, dude, like, what did he say?
I don't remember, something like much love to
He was
your
like,
bass
yo,
player,
much
but-
love to everybody, but like, bro, your bass player.
He
Like,
really did his
he did his
on
thing on Fool.
He slid on this.
Yeah, he really slid on us.
That's
And-
so awesome.
But then like Sebi also has songs where he just like you said like holds it down the way you're supposed to, and it feels so good. As
Yeah.
a result. It's
Sebi
like-
has a natural musical inclination that is like you just like look over, he's just playing some shit on some instrument, and it's always like fucking gorgeous. I don't know.
It's true.
It just is like the notes that you like are the right ones. You know what I mean? Like,
Sebi likes particular notes.
yeah, and they're always
It's very
good.
special.
It's nice.
Interesting. Thank
Yeah.
you.
What are the ones?
And
Thank
it's
you.
like cross instrument too, which is impressive. It's not like you have like a vocabulary on like guitar. It's like you have like a musical vocabulary, and then it transcends to every instrument you pick up.
That's so
Mm.
true, dude.
Thank you.
That's what we were talking about yesterday with the cage thing. It's like he doesn't really like you're not in the box really.
No.
What's the cage thing?
Well,
We're talking about chord positions, dude. This is a okay. Wait,
extremely
We're
nerdy
theorying.
conversation yesterday.
yeah, we have
The
a real
nerdiest we've
nerdy
ever
like
gotten,
guitar player's
probably.
conversation where it's like, if you're playing like, so if you're playing cowboy chords, right? So you're down on the neck, and then if you're playing in the key of G versus the key of E versus the key of C versus the key of A, but it's all open chords, right? So it's like there's like a whole vocabulary associated with songs that are in the key of G on the guitar because of the way that the position is, and like it makes all the chords fit in different like fucking voicings or whatever. Like it just is like or inversions is really what I'm looking for. Like it changes everything about it. And so we were having these conversations about like which one is our favorite, and I think G is like the mother realm, and then I think
Of open chords?
yeah, I think when you're playing, because then you get C is the 4 chord and D is the 5 chord, and it just works. It goes up the neck and all this. There's all this fucking beautiful vocabulary. You can walk down, you can walk up. E is like the guitar one. You can't walk down, but it's just so open and like grand and sounds fucking awesome. I forget why we're talking about this, but now I'm just going.
No, go for it. Yeah.
So
Sick.
E's great, and then we said A. We're a little cold on, but A is beautiful. Shout out James Taylor. C is great. You end up sounding like Blaze Foley a little bit. I've been on a C
Yeah,
wave
dude,
recently.
C is great because you get F.
Yeah, C you get
Yeah.
F. The C
F
to
is
F is
huge.
fucking good, especially when you play with your thumb.
Yeah, you'd play with your thumb and you get your
Dude,
middle
it's
finger off.
so good. The day that I stopped playing it with my finger was the day that I
Dude, that's
became
that's
a happy
real.
man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like
Oh,
this is so much
man.
nicer. But yeah, basically
Thumb
we
on
had
the
this
F
whole.
is huge.
We did fuck, marry, kill for like maybe 8 hours.
With like guitar chords.
With keys?
Yeah, with keys.
Yeah, dude.
I think it was E.
It was
E, G, and C.
We killed
E,
E,
G, and
A.
C. It was
E, G, and C, which is
it was
hard.
EGC kill. That's
Hard.
what
Fuck G.
Which is
Yeah.
hard. Fuck G.
Or are you marrying E? Are you
I think
marrying
I'm-
E
I think-
or marrying
I think
G?
I'm marrying G. I'm fucking E,
E.
and then I'm killing C. But I hate that because I
Which is
love C.
Crazy,
Yeah.
dude.
Dude, maybe I
feel like it's
shouldn't do
kinda
that.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's the only way.
Yeah.
I love the vocabulary on the G is unmatched.
Yeah.
Songs that are in open G is like, yeah, something about it.
Can you guys educate me on the open chord stuff? Because I'm like a very, very like preliminary guitar player. I play like I just know like basic chords and like that's like I'm a drummer pretty much, but like growing up like never hearing anything about these open chords voicings, and then like I feel like lately so many people have brought them up to me. Is that like a newer thing that people are doing more often right now, like open chords, or no?
No. It's like the thing you learn day one. You probably know them all.
Well, and I think because it's the thing that you learn day one, I think for a while there, like open chords were not cool. Because it was like
growing up for sure.
You know what I mean? Like growing up, it was like
we're not open chords. What's the word I'm looking for? When you're I'm sorry, open tunings is what I was looking for.
Tunings.
I was saying open chords. Yeah, I meant open tunings.
Open tunings are cool.
Yeah.
But I've been on the standard wave. I've played with open tunings a lot for like a couple years of my guitar playing life. But then I love standard. I think standard is right. I think they got it right. and the other thing is you can play cooler. In my opinion, when you play like mathy, because okay, I love Midwest emo. I'm in a Midwest emo band. I love that shit. When you play mathy shit on an open tuning, it sounds beautiful and amazing and math rock. When you play math rocky ass shit in standard, it's like angular and like cool, and you get these weird things that you wouldn't. I don't know. I love the open tunings, but I think standard is kind of underrated.
That's so cool. So do you guys write mostly in standard?
I think we definitely write in standard. Almost.
We've never done open, have we?
Not
the standard for sure.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but aren't there a lot of people like in this genre of music that like would opt for more open tuning stuff? I totally could be wrong about this.
Definitely, yeah. Open tunings are like a staple of like everything that's emo influenced. I'd say.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then like another one is like your open E or open D is also a big like country and like folk gospel
especially for
thing.
slide.
Yeah, especially for slide, because if you play with a little thing, you can just kind of like slide it anywhere.
Little thing.
The little slide.
That little big ring.
That big ring. Yeah.
That's funny. The big ring.
Yeah. The big ring. Pull the big ring out for a little slide
guitar.
guitar.
That Drake and Future song off the.
I got a really big ring.
Yeah, we got some really big rings.
I got really big rings. Really nice.
My hand heavy.
Yeah.
My wrist slumped.
The motion there was crazy. He said my wrist slumped.
Yeah, dude.
My wrist.
Ice.
I got this big watch on.
That was cool. You said anything that derives from emo music. Do you guys? It's cool because I don't really like. I wouldn't listen to Fed Up with Children and think, oh, like they listen to emo rock or like they listen to pop punk or anything like that or Midwest emo. Is that like a world you guys all collectively love and resonate with? And like, is that an influence?
I think so. I mean, I think some more than others. I think Nick especially, and obviously Truman is in
Frat Mouse, yeah.
So yeah. So I don't know. Nick, I mean, you I think listen to.
Well, I think it's more like the ethos of emo music. I think that sort of like is what like encapsulates Fat Evil Children. It's just about being like vulnerable, I think.
Yeah.
Attitude thing all day.
So
it is, yeah.
And not necessarily trying to be like super cool. I think that's more like the emo sentiment. So I think that's really what at least I pull from personally. And I love the genre in general, so like there's also that. But
yeah, no, that makes a ton of sense. I think on the latest record, name drop it: Fat Evil Dogs, Fat Evil Cats, Fat Evil Bears, Fat Evil Rats.
You got it, bro. That's
on
pretty
the tight shit. On the new project, a lot of the lyrical substance is like very, very open. And I think, I mean, I was gonna get in this later, but I guess we can hop into now because it makes sense. I think there's like this sense lyrically on the project where like everything feels very young in a really cool way. It feels very youthful. Like it's almost like, and I think the cover of the album, in my interpretation of it, definitely felt like that as well. It's like the opening the door and someone coming through, and it's kind of like this new stage of life, which was a lot of what I got from it. And I think I at least one of my favorite songs is Big Ol' Bird on the project, and there was a line, forgive me if I butcher it, but I think it was like it was the line about being young and learning to be right. And that line I think resonated with me a lot. I thought it was really, really cool. But do you think like that youthful sense that is on the project was something that was intentional? Were you guys trying to kind of like write about yourself and this coming of age, or was it just where you were in life at the time? Like what were the feelings when you were kind of like doing most of the lyrical substance for the project?
It just like comes out that way. Like whenever I'm writing a song, I never like set an intention of like, oh, I want it to feel like this or be about this. It's just like whatever comes out when I sit down and write. And so just like that's just like who I am.
Are you usually like motivated to write a song after an experience, or do you kind of like write about things that happened in the past? Like when do you find yourself most motivated to go and write a song?
Usually like emotional turmoil usually will set off like good songwriting, but I don't know, if you make songwriting like a habit, it's not really like spurred by necessarily like something that's happening in your life. Like, I feel like I just end up writing out of just like habit. It's just like what I do. I sit down at the guitar and it's just like I'm writing.
Interesting. Yeah, it's cool. I always think it's so interesting how different songwriters look at that in different ways. Because I know a lot who like write every single day, and then some that are just like very motivated by certain experiences and stuff. Like, I think it's sick that people can write in a million different ways. They can come out so different, you know?
Totally.
Do you guys write collectively, or is it always you, Nick? Are you coming to the sessions with like lyrics already written and melodies already written, or is that more of a collective process?
Yeah, mostly I'll bring songs, but we've recorded a few songs where like we'll come in with no song and then just like it appears sort of in front of us.
Especially
I think Taking Your Place was like that.
Clean Me was like that.
Clean Me was kind of like
I
that.
think those might be the only two.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's definitely an exciting way to write.
that's I mean, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like, it's almost like you're just going into the room and seeing what writes itself, you know?
Yeah.
Do you guys, so you said you were recording the project every Tuesday and Sunday, right? It was like a weekly thing? I would imagine that would give you a lot of leeway too, because you could like plan when you're coming in with, and you're coming in with different things and stuff. It's like that balance of like writing by yourself and then coming to the practice space with like things to talk about, things to write about, and things to flesh out.
Yeah, it's cool though, because I think it still felt pretty unplanned. Like, we never were like, oh, we should do this one next. It kind of was just like whichever one we were feeling, and if like Nick just didn't have one or didn't feel like recording, like if we didn't feel like recording a certain one, sometimes we just made one up. I think that's what happened with Taking Your Place, for example, and like Clean Me also. It also like in between things, just like jamming it out and just kind of like being spontaneous with it, kind of like created those tunes in particular.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that makes a ton of sense. I think it comes across like that for sure. It's like nothing on it feels forced, but I think the stories on it really speak themselves. I think there's a lot of moments where like the lyrical substance, even if I'm like not even fully comprehending the story that's being told, something about like the way the words are written is just like resonating with me on like a super deep level. I think it's sick, and I think it comes across too, just like your guys' whole place in it all. Like, it feels very full. Do you all have a hand in like every aspect of it, like on a production level and a mastering and mixing level and things like that?
Truman?
Well, we recorded it in, so when I was going, so now I'm not living in college even though I'm still in there, but I was living there, and we had this like garage behind where I was living. The house that I was living in was called Flea House, so it was kind of fun, and we had this like shitty garage that was awesome, and it was sort of like the size of this, and we just set up a studio in it, and I was recording with Frat Mouse in there and some other people, and when we started recording Fat Evil Children, that was where we did it, and we all had a hand in it for sure, and it was really fun. I definitely took, I was trying really hard to, I love producing music. I love the idea of recording bands.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to be someone who records bands. I think that I will do that my whole life if I can. Like, I love like going to a show and being like, do you guys have any way to record? Like, I would love to record you guys. So I was definitely like taking that really seriously and really wanted to like record this band. But all of us are producers and all of us record music. So it was really it was a really communal effort, and it was so fun. And I think that a lot of it was like, I think what made this record so great was the process, and the process was that we had all the instruments basically ready to go in the room. We could get a sound from any instrument really quickly, and so all of us played a wide variety of instruments on the record.
Sick.
It absolutely wasn't like, okay, Sebi, play your bass part, now we're done. Like,
Well,
Sebi
actually,
played.
low-key it was.
Well, there was a lot of, okay, Sebi, do your bass. But Sebi played guitar.
Time for the rest of the band was when Sebi had to play bass.
That's so funny. That was a good time.
Yeah, I laid down the full bass line, and it was just me in the room.
But Sebi played guitar and played piano, and
Wow.
all of us played a bunch of different instruments, and I think that it was because we just had everything in a room, and there were no rules, and anyone can play anything, and if there's a good idea, we recorded it, and that was how it went. And then,
Yeah.
That's so cool. So it's not even like everybody in the band is playing specific parts on the record. It's more of like a collective experience entirely. It's not like what you play on stage is what you were playing on the record.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's super cool. I think that, that's got to add so many, like, I think there's such like a lack of ego there. That's so sick.
It was for the project. It was 100% for what is going to make the best music. If anyone in the room made it at all clear that they didn't want to make the best music, they would have been instantly like, okay, you're fucking gone. But that would never have happened because all of us were so certain that all of us wanted to do it for the music.
Yeah.
But it was like everyone was there to make the best music, I feel like. So.
That's so cool, dude. That's super, super sick. What did you guys...
I mean, we almost kicked Autry out a few times. He was not trying to make the best music.
Autry was like, you guys make the worst music you possibly can.
Like,
Market it as a
it's a
meme.
little too good.
And on the production front, it was all collaborative as well.
I mean, I guess I technically produced it, you know what I mean? But it was definitely hyper collaborative. Like, we all made decisions, and we were playing we would all sign off on the final thing. Like, usually we would finish the song by the end of the session. We'd be listening to it over and over and be like, okay, like, let's take this out. Or, like, you'd be like, oh, could we add this thing? And then we add the thing, and then it's done. And so it was super fun, but I mean, it was on my computer, you know?
Yeah.
I used a lot of my gear, and, like, it was, like, my interface and stuff, and...
well, and I'd say Truman was driving the ship, I think. You know, he was, like, which I think really that's the job of the producer. You know, especially, like, the older I get, the more I'm finding out. I think it's, like, just being the guy who's just going to, like, push the band to get the red button on. You know
It was
what I mean?
one of the most fulfilling and fun experiences of my life, easily. It was so
So
much fun.
cool,
And
dude.
it was so creatively satisfying, and it was so endlessly inspiring. And these guys are all so fucking talented, so it was really, really fun.
I bet that room will like be burnt into your head forever.
Oh, yeah.
Like that
Actually,
little
yeah.
house
So
in the
true.
back of
I
dude.
see us recording it, just talking about it. Like HD, 4K.
Oh, my God, yeah. What a great room.
Would-
What a great room.
It's a great room.
Is there any way you could ever go back there and record
we
again?
could,
You think?
actually. We could. I know someone who still lives at Flea.
Yeah, you know that they have flea acid or fleas now.
Yeah, but
Fleas?
they got rid of them
They
now.
got rid of them,
They're
but
good
they
now.
Is that
like-
why it's
like
called
really
flea?
Yeah, there was fleas when I was there.
Yeah, and then they
From
got
like a
rid of them.
dog or like a human?
Yeah, someone brought in
Like-
like a stray dog.
Oh,
That was
dude,
how
you
they-
can't do that.
Yeah.
That's so stupid. Why would they do
So
that?
dumb. I know. It's like, dude, come on. Like,
Wait, was it called Flea House beforehand, or
no, it's
that's
called Flow House.
Flow?
Why was it Flow House? What was flowing?
I guess they were like on some like flow house on the beat. It was like a music house, so like
Okay.
we're flowing on the beat or whatever.
So true, bro. That's
So
why
I
I'm
was
so
like, "There's
USC.
fleas here." Like, I didn't coin the name, but it became Flea House, and it was like, that was that.
Fat House.
Yeah, that
Fat
was
Evil
sick.
Children House.
I was actually totally living in that studio, like 100%.
Really?
I was just. I mean, no, I was sleeping in the house, but it was like that place was the best place. Like, I have like a really intense relationship with that room.
That's
Like,
how I am
love
with
that
this room,
place.
dude.
Fair enough.
Yeah,
dude.
very similar. Like I always
Yeah.
say, like one day when like above the bridge is like a huge office, I want to rebuild this garage within the warehouse.
Yeah.
Dude, that would be
Awesome.
sick.
Yeah,
You always
dude.
got with the shed, yeah.
They did that. Metallica did that. Like, for
What?
real. I think they did that, or they went back to the garage. But like the garage they wrote Master Puppets in, they either rebuilt it and then recorded in it, or like took pieces from it and put it in their studio. They did something like that.
Yeah.
And it was cool. And they also went back there and recorded there, and they were like, "It's tiny." It's like, yeah,
It's like, yeah, you guys are rich now.
yeah.
That's such a cool idea, dude. I think there's a really, really special quality that like the spaces and the rooms you record things and hold and like will forever feel
So
that
true.
way. Like I feel that way about this fucking garage, dude, because like if it was empty right now I wouldn't feel shit about it. And like honestly, it's not even, it's like it's hot and it's gross and it's dirty, but it's like I don't know, I've just done so many things
it's
in here
home, man.
and found myself here so many times, you know.
Yeah. Dude, that's so real. The space, I mean, it goes, yeah, the microphones pick up more than just the sound, dude. And I think,
So true.
and also legitimately, the space sounds a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, so, you know, even not in like a woo-woo way, in like a real way,
In like a technical
it
way.
matters a lot. And so
Yeah.
it's cool.
How were the acoustics in the flea back room?
Actually good.
Really?
Actually good.
Wait, so it was a garage or what was it?
It was like a
Well, did
shed.
it have a vaulted ceiling?
It did have a vaulted
had a
ceiling,
vaulted
which was
ceiling.
so great about it. And that we had so much shit in it that
And it
the
had
sound got
beams,
diffused
too.
so much. The beams were cool. You could hang on them.
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
that's
so
sick.
fun.
Tear it down one day.
Yeah, it was good
Yeah.
shit. And also, like, I love engineering. I'm obsessed with audio engineering, and I got obsessed with it right before we did this record.
Yeah.
And I think it was awesome because we had all this gear. Like, it was fun. We really got good sounds out of that. Like, it was awesome. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I
The
thought it
room
sounded
had a
great.
sound
Yeah.
too. It's
Yeah.
like- yeah, especially like when you played loud in it.
It sounded like a good small room. It really
It sounded
did.
like a good small room, and it had a vibe.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
totally.
Like,
A good small room is a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I think because it's so much of the record too feels very like DIY done well. It's kind of like DIY, but it's just produced properly
Dude,
in a cool sense.
That's like so lit.
Huge.
Yeah. Well,
That's awesome.
yeah. It's
That's
like
the coolest shit ever.
I mean, this is like a very different example, but like the way I always describe make out music is like DIY with the facelift, like that. That's what I've always said. And then this record feels like DIY, like it feels like the four of you. It's very homegrown, but it feels like it's well produced. You know, it's like DIY, but it's like intentionally homegrown, but also like with this polished quality to it.
Well, not to get into some shit, but I have this theory, like, you got to think about like the percentage that you are putting in of like certain attributes, and for this record a lot of them was like a live chaotic feel versus like a studio feel, and I think that we reached a balance of like 70% studio and 30% like live, and the way that we did it was by doing everything to like live takes, but getting really good live takes. So like if we're doing a rhythm guitar, the rhythm guitar player, which could have literally been any of us, is gonna play through the whole song over and over and over again until they get a great take from start to finish. And there's gonna be inherently some string noise or some finger noise. Yeah. But it's gonna be great, and it's like it just ends up sounding like the best live take ever. Yeah. And also we didn't ever worry about like, oh, how are we gonna do this live? Like, so there's like a bunch of layers, but all of them are live, and it just creates this like amalgamation of like rawness mixed with polishedness, and all this stuff. And I think that I really appreciate you saying that, because we thought a lot about it. And
of course, dude. That's just how it feels for me. Do you guys think there's like magic in like live takes in that regard? Because like I think there is,
of course,
dude. I feel very similarly. I think there's like a really, really inherent beauty in like this level of like imperfection and like randomness that can happen in like any given live take where like maybe someone yells. In dynamics,
the dynamic thing is crazy, because if you have the levels right, then you preserve the dynamics of the player. If you're coming in with all these different comps and stuff, you end up having to like mess with your fader to get the natural dynamics. But if you can get someone to play all the way through, when they have a quiet part and a loud part, the dynamics are going to be perfect because they've played through the whole thing. Yeah. And the player, there's like, when you're working with good musicians, that's the price to entry though. You need to have people who can play, who are really good and who care about making something have an arc, because if every single take you have an arc, the song is going to have this crazy arc. Like it's really really potent, that technique of having these full takes.
What do you mean by an arc when you say an arc?
Well, if you're playing a rhythm guitar take, your second chorus is going to be louder than your first chorus, and your second verse might be quieter than your first verse, and your intro might be like in the middle of those things.
I see what you're saying.
And, like,
so a dynamic
player
arc
is going to do that naturally. You don't have to tell anyone.
This fly is assaulting me.
I know, he's jumping on you.
He's like hitting my face.
But it's stuff that people do naturally.
So I see what you mean. Just so like if you did like if you went like that, and for people just listening, or I guess no one's gonna see that, but I just drew like a wave. So it's like this right here would be like your hook, and then maybe this is your intro, and your verse is somewhere in the middle.
Totally.
And it's like you're kind of going up and then down.
Like, okay, so you have this squiggle, and you have another squiggle, and this squiggle, this squiggle, and then there's all these other squiggles, and so everyone's doing this, and then you end up getting this like kind of shaky line.
Can you move your mic up? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so basically you have this fucking squiggle, right? And that's one person's take, and then the other person does a take, and it's like a same squiggle that has like a similar slope and curve, but it's not the exact same. And then when you do that 100 times, you end up having this really like kind of rough, awesome arc and squiggle. It's great.
Yeah,
it's a beautiful thing.
And there's like magic in that. Like there's magic in that. I think that can only be created through like a live recording. Whereas like you're right, if you just keep comping in stuff, it's like at that point you're just and I'm not like against producing like things in the box entirely, but I think when you have that
well, not the cool
the box Roddy Rich, huge influence. But when you have that level of like, we are doing something and trying to capture the magic in the room at any given point, I think that's very, very special. Were you guys like bringing other players and other folks and other producers and stuff like into the little shed, or no?
No,
absolutely
never.
Not.
It's really? No one on earth is on our level.
We're better than everyone else.
I just know when I meet them, I just think you're not on my plane of existence. You have much to learn.
You have much to learn.
Just kidding. No, we didn't though.
No, we didn't. Well, it's like
for those
just hanging out with the homies. It's just worked that way.
Gotcha. Were you having like other people in there that weren't musical while you were recording, or was it literally just you guys?
I mean, Autry was in there. Autry's like big glue of the band, so like him being in the room and just like hanging out and falling asleep as well. It was
Okay, that was like
he was pulling his legs. Everybody fell asleep at least once probably. But Autry was the only one in there that like wasn't playing music usually.
Gotcha.
But I mean, like, we're all homies, so it was just about like hanging out, and then we were just like recording music, just sort of like happened to be what we were doing, I guess. But
it's
that's a cool way to put it.
It's really fun. It's fun to do even if you're not trying to make a project. So it's like, dude, we're just having fun.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool, dude. That's everything. And it comes across for sure. And I think like your guys' love for each other on the record comes across very, very clearly as well. And also just like where you are for sure. Being like in a college environment doing it, was it really different, like producing music and working on music in college versus now being out of college? Does it feel different? Like, are the communities of people you're around different? Like, how did you kind of start to grow a musical community that was like outside of USC? Like, I guess like, I mean, well, for example, I first saw you guys play at the Hardcore Paloma show the opening for, I think it was Ari. But like, how'd you meet all those guys and like start to kind of get connected outside of the USC music scene?
I met. Oh, you gonna hold it for me? No, I don't like that.
He said, I don't like that.
The Ariana Grande setup.
I met Aaron through my friend Eric, and then I would just kind of go over there and work on some of his stuff at their house. I think at the Harcourt Paloma house every once in a while. So I just started kicking it there a little bit and just hanging out with Aaron, and then I think I don't know. I guess I think Ari hit up Autry for that. So I don't know how Autry and Ari got connected, but yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah. That makes sense. Were you the record like being so acoustically driven, but like having those moments that are like ultra dynamic, was I guess when you guys first started playing music, like having different influences from different worlds, was the plan for like all the Festival of Children music to like always be like kind of acoustically driven, or is that just the way that it kind of worked out? And is that even a thing you guys resonate with?
It's a good question, honestly.
I think it did just kind of that wasn't always the plan, I don't think.
We found it on Fooled.
Yeah, I found it on Fooled because we had done a version of Fooled before we ended up doing this version, and I think Nick, that was the first session for the album, and I think Nick had gotten to the studio before us and was just playing that on the acoustic. And, and Jim was like, we should just do it that way.
That was one of my favorite things that I've ever witnessed happen.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
That was
like,
sick.
It wasn't even. It just was like one of those things where like it just really came together. Like, so Nick's like playing this song in like this different way. And the only reason I wanted to record it was just to remember it. I was in no way thinking that this was going to be how we were going to play the song. And he just recorded the guitar first and everything, and then we just tracked. You guys showed up at like the perfect time,
and then Diego
insta played the drums on it, and it was just like, oh my god, this is like how we should be making this music.
Insta played.
Just like right away played the perfect thing, and then it was like, this is the sound. Like we just were gonna play the songs acoustic and then track drums over it, and it was like that was it. Like I feel like that was like
it was like all one take.
Yeah, and then it was
like the next time we got together, we tried to do Running, and we were gonna do it with an electric guitar, and like we recorded it in the morning, and it was just like completely wrong, and we felt it, and then we tried, and then just like randomly, we were playing the song like Running later in the evening acoustically, and we were like,
that's so true. That's exactly what
it is.
Yeah.
And so we just stuck to the ethos.
The environment very much.
That's so cool. So you almost like stumbled into it.
Yeah.
I think we were definitely coming into that with the open mind, like we're gonna find a sound here, not like, and I think that's how all of us approach music in general, where it's like you're looking for things that you're gonna find naturally. It's better if you're doing that. Yeah, if you're coming with like an idea of what you're trying to find, that's fine. But if you're coming in like, I need this sound, it's like it's better to be like, okay, what is the best sound that this room is gonna give us? Like, considering like all the tools that we have and where we are, what is the best?
And what
way
time?
we should
Like
do
what
this?
day? What time? I mean, we were coming in Sunday mornings. Like it was early.
Yeah.
It's like busting out the electric guitar and stomping on.
Didn't feel right,
distortion.
yeah.
Just was not right.
And like the mix of all of us as players, it worked with this sound. You know what I mean? Like it was something about like, we just found something that worked, and I think that it's going to be cool when we make another record to see if it's like similar or different, because I think there's a lot of different ways that we could play that would all sound good, but it was just we found something and we just went with it. I think that's how you make the best records. You find a sound and you're like, okay, well, let's just explore this sound through 12 songs or whatever, and that's kind of what we did.
That's such a cool answer. Like that idea of just like not going into the studio with any expectations and just like happening to stumble into something is so sick, because it's like the project is very consistent on like a sonic basis, and like it plays with a lot of the same ideas, but it does so in different ways on every track, I feel like. And I keep going back to Running, but I think it's probably my favorite song on the album, and it is kind of this new take on the more acoustically driven sound where it does get more dynamic, and I don't know, it just feels like there's so many highs and lows. I think with an album like this, it would have been very easy to like not capture the difference in every single song, and I think it's so special that you guys were able to do that with literally every track.
Wow, that's awesome.
It definitely,
so sick.
Dude, thanks for saying that. It was
Of course.
definitely every song, and I definitely think we all agree on this. Like every song we looked at, like, okay, we have something, and then let's make this song have its own thing. And I think it was not very formulaic. It was very much like, we should get a new instrument on this, or not even that, but just like someone would just be playing something and we'd be like, that's really cool, just throw it on, and it was just like focused on I don't know, you guys could talk about it, but
yeah, everything about this record felt so natural, which was sick. Yeah,
I agree.
Like
real
for sure. On like the production basis, it being like primarily acoustic, were you guys recording like a bunch of layers of guitars
Yeah.
acoustically? Because it sounds like, I mean, like that's I think the coolest thing about me is it sits in an instrumental pocket that could be very quiet, but it often gets so loud, and it's kind of like making loudness out of quiet instruments, which I think is really, really, really sick. Did you guys like? What was kind of the process for some of the songs? Like, was it track a bunch of layers of guitars and then vocals and then drums, or like what was kind of the order you guys would do things in? Was it different for every song?
It sort of
It's
changed.
different. Some of them, the acoustic was recorded first, and then Diego would just play drums to that.
Yeah.
And then sometimes
There's a couple where it was
they
drums
would,
first.
yeah, like play together.
Oh
drums
yeah, a lot of
first,
times
and
we
then-
played together.
And then, I guess the rest of it.
Uh-huh.
But yeah.
It would just come based off that. It would all just like scaffold in that way.
Yeah, I guess it was like song to song.
Mhm.
Well, it was a hyper quick like process. Like if you had a sound that was
Yeah,
cool,
yeah.
we could get it on the track right away.
Yeah.
So that it was like if you're gonna have some layer, we can just throw it on, and then if it works, it works, and if it doesn't work, we'll just take it out.
And that was because everything was set up and you were
Everything
just
was
ready to
set
go.
up, and I really think that was really cool about that. Just one room, and we had like it was like we had like a drum setup, and then we had like one float mic that just sounded great on everything.
Uh-huh.
So you could just move that mic wherever you wanted. So like wherever someone's
Oh,
sitting,
nice.
oh, you're playing this thing on the guitar, and it sounds beautiful. We all are like, oh, what the fuck is Sebby playing? That sounds awesome. And then we just put a mic on him. He plays on the track, and then either wow, that was perfect and magical, and now it's done, or it's like maybe we'll take out this section and then it's done, or maybe we'll do it again or something. But it was like super quick, and I think we just layered everything based on what we felt would be cool.
Oh, that's so sick, dude. I think that's a lost art to a certain degree. Like that, we're gonna record one record with everything set up over this period of time. It's gonna sound like this in this room.
Dude, I agree.
Yeah, Justin Vernon's like my favorite example of that. The From
Yeah.
a Forever Go record by Bon Iver. Like how that album was literally just recorded in a cabin in Wisconsin in the middle of the winter when he was snowed in. It's just like such a cool idea, and it comes across so well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It gets to capture like a time.
Yeah.
Which is very cool.
Yeah,
You get to
exactly.
experience it.
It's like a time capsule.
Totally.
It's like this stuff Out of a Children sounded in this moment in this very specific room, recording over this long period of time.
Yeah.
Did those first demos you guys came in with? You said you kind of had a moment where you found the more acoustic-driven sound. How did those first demos come? Like, and how did they sound? Were they like more electric, like before you hit that
we
moment?
had one demo of Fooled. That's kind of all we did before we started the record, and it was like played with an electric guitar, and you had like a riff, and not like you weren't like kind of strumming it like you were in the final version.
Sometimes still plays it live.
Yeah, which is so sick. Yeah, we play the demo version low key when we play it live,
Whoa.
which
A
is
little
kind of
bit.
sick.
It's a different key.
It's we usually play it a different key and like the old riff.
Why'd you end up changing it?
Because that's just how he was
That's
playing it.
that's
yeah.
how it came out.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and you had to respect
Yes,
the.
yeah.
Well, the
respect
day that I
thing.
came over to Truman's house,
Uh-huh.
his guitar was in standard, and like I'd written the song in D standard.
But so, and I just like started playing it that way when I got to his place, and then he just recorded it that way, and then that was just how the new
And then we
song
went
sounded.
off of that.
Yeah.
I think not being precious about it was something that really helped us.
Mm.
We weren't really precious about much. It was very much like, this is cool right now, let's just do it like this, and we'll like, it's not like, okay, is this the best way we could possibly do it? It's like, well, this is just awesome right now, so let's just do it
Yeah.
like this.
Yeah, that's so cool. It's like never being married to one specific idea for one specific reason.
Well, it's more fun that way.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like,
Not getting married.
Not getting married.
Never get married.
yeah, Feck is really anti-marriage. We don't like to be tied down. We're some
Yeah.
bachelors over here.
Yeah, we're just a couple of bachelors, you know.
All have
Just kidding.
Yeah, all our girlfriends, like, yeah.
You guys all have girlfriends? That's sick.
Yeah.
No single in the band helps, I feel
No.
like.
No,
I actually
yeah.
think
What?
Autry says we're not supposed to
Why?
sing.
Oh.
You're supposed to maintain
We have to
the single
remain-
sex appeal, you know?
Like
Bachelor.
in K-pop, where like they're not allowed to date anybody
that's
because
so
it like
crazy.
makes them less. Yeah, like contractually they can't date anybody.
That's fucking.
Because-
What? Wait, who?
Right. I know. Well, that's why we got to read his contracts. Autry's gonna sign us in.
Dude, that is
Yeah.
crazy.
Just hidden in the fine lines. You cannot be in a relationship.
Yeah,
Fucking
dude.
crazy.
So
I didn't
weird.
know
Why
that.
would they do that?
Yeah, that's
I
terrible.
guess it's
Oh
so
my
that
God.
like people can always feel like they can be with them. I guess. Like you know what I mean? It's like
It's like a sex appeal thing.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
crazy.
Pretty freaky.
Did the did the album cover come after the songs were recorded, or
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
it before?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a photo of Autry and I actually like moving out of our apartment, like college apartment that we lived in
Oh.
like for 2 years.
That's kind of symbolic.
It's pretty sick. It was like one room studio apartment that him and I lived in for 2 years.
Uh-huh.
And so it was like the final. Well, we were like a week. We were trying to submit the album like for 3 weeks we were like, oh, we'll submit it this week, we'll submit it this week, we'll submit it this week, and it just kept getting pushed. And then like by the time like the last week came around, I'd taken that photo and I was like, oh well, now we have the album cover. So, like we had a few beforehand that we didn't like as much, and so this one just sort of like
it came like right
dropped
before
into our laps.
we like threw it on like DSPs or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you know it as soon as you took it? You're like, this is the cover?
No. It was that night though. I like was looking at it.
What about it?
I don't know. What'd you say? Because I like Autry. No, I mean, I don't know. It was just
Ode to Autry.
I don't know. It just felt like it encompassed. It was just something more emotional. I don't know. I like the brown. I like that we were leaving, I guess, because that's sort of like the record sort of felt like leaving, or like the closing of a chapter or something like that. So
I like the light.
I like the light coming in, and it
comes
felt a little
like
weird.
Out. It's interesting.
The vacuum that's in the cover kind of reminds me of like the little keyboard that you were playing at the end of Burning. Like it's sort of like the wood next to like the vacuum. I don't know.
I like the vacuum.
The vacuum
just
is
like
really
emotionally
sick.
connects to the album.
I mean, if vacuums didn't exist, and you made a sculpture that looked like a vacuum, it'd be like, whoa. Look at that.
That's actually
That's
so
a great
true.
point.
That's so true.
I've never thought about that in my life.
I mean, with all the tubes and the whole thing, and the function of it is quite.
Well, it's objectively like so sick because it's like it's got like that bottom part.
I mean, it kind of sucks.
And then it no. But think about it. It like shapes.
On, dude.
And then
Great
it has, like, the
invention.
handle.
Come on, bro. It kind of
You know what I'm
sucks.
saying?
Kind of sucks.
Come
on.
You got me.
Oh, how did you know which one it was and I didn't?
Because we were practicing.
Sebby's been practicing.
That was beautiful. That was literally we've done 152 of these, and that was the first practical use the soundboard's ever gotten.
Are you kidding me?
Wow,
Really?
that's
Nobody's
crazy.
ever been in here? Yeah, what?
Congratulations,
Beck
bro.
is
You did
different
it.
like that.
Yeah,
So-
musician brain.
Yeah.
I see how you could get that from the album cover, though. I even got that, and I didn't know any of this context. I was listening to the project because I'd heard like all the songs individually, but I'd never sat down and listened to the album entirely front to back until this morning. And I sat down in my living room. It was like 7, and the sun was coming through, and the way it was coming through the window almost looked like the album cover, and it felt very right.
That's super cool.
Yeah,
So
like I totally see how it can kind of like be that, because the record does feel like that. Like there's a certain, like I said, like a youthful quality to it, but it's professionally recorded and it sounds like, moving on, a stage of moving on and getting to a different place in your life. Nick, I guess another question for you is like so much of what I love about the project is vocally just like some of the more like some of the runs you do and like how they sound so human in a really, really cool way. I always say like all my favorite singers like have similar voices to like I think where your voice sits, like Conor Oberst, Brian Sella, people like that are some of my favorite singers ever who just have vocals that aren't like
Brian Sella.
Yeah, Brian Sella. Yeah, they aren't like trying to like sing their I don't know, like trying to sing their heart on every single verse, but it sounds so human and so real. Do you take a lot of different vocal takes when you're recording vocals? Are you somebody who will usually go with the first or second take, or were you recording like song after song after song, like doing multiple takes of the vocals trying to get everything to sound a certain way, or did you just kind of have a general idea when you were going into it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we recorded all the vocals, like we just like the day that we recorded the song, the vocals would come in, and usually it was like first or second take. We didn't really think too much about it. Sort of similar to the rest of the record, I think.
Yeah, that's super sick. I think it comes across that way for sure. Like it's I think that's honestly like one of my favorite qualities of the project. It's just how like, of course, yeah, it just feels so human. Like none of it feels like you're trying to like sing your heart out in a way that just is like not you. Like it feels very, very human through and through, and I think that's like a testament to the kind of DIY production style where everything is like, again, professionally. I keep going back to it, but professionally recorded in a way that like feels very homegrown and very, very, very natural. But yeah, I just want to touch on that because it's like one of my favorite things of the project.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Did you grow up singing, or like was it something you just kind of were thrown into?
No, I didn't grow up singing. I started singing like junior year of high school. And it was really bad for a long time. And then I joined Fat Evil Children and I got good.
Nice. Were there any like vocalists that you were looking to as you kind of tried to get better at singing?
Not for a really long. I mean, I think it wasn't until like I really fell in love with like Bob Dylan that I was like actually thinking about like how it was sounding, because there was like a minute where I was like emulating him. I don't know, Elliott Smith too, of course. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't thinking too much. It was just like however it came out, and I'm like heavily influenced by whatever I like, and so it was more like a subconscious thing that's just like how I would end up like trying to sing, I guess.
Yeah. It's so sick to me that you guys are like in school for music, which is in like an incredibly technical way, but some of the influences are people who just are not really like theoretically driven at all. Like Elliott Smith and Bob Dylan, both those are like incredibly just like driven storytellers, where like they're just, again, just sounding human. And I think like one of the worst things you can do when you get incredibly good at production or theory or just instrumentals in general, I guess, is like play to things that don't fit the song. And so many of the parts in the project are just tame enough where they fit the feeling of the song and the energy of the song. And I think the lyrically too, like it sits in this pocket that like sometimes it feels like sad, but sometimes it feels happy, but it almost always feels melancholic. It's like there's always this quality to it that feels it can go either way. Do you guys feel like songs came from a happy place or a sad place more often on this record?
I think that most of the time all of my songs come like from a confused place.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But I would rarely say that any of the songs are like strictly happy or strictly sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Except for maybe Hatchet, that one's a little angry and frustrated. That one's pretty unidimensional, but the rest of them I think are like, yeah, more nuanced.
That makes total sense. That actually makes like perfect sense, because like that was the feeling that I was getting from a lot of them, was like melancholic. But when you say confused is also like it's like a mix of different emotions. Like it's not sad, it's not happy, it's like somewhere in the middle. So it makes a bunch of sense that like that's where a lot of the songs came from.
Totally.
Would you know when like like how many songs did you write for this project that didn't end up on it? Like would you know when one was like, yeah, this is lyrically going to be on the project, or would you just play around with it more? Like how did you kind of figure out which ones stayed on the floor and which ones went on the project?
It was definitely just like an intuition thing, just like being which songs I was most proud of, I would pick those.
Yeah.
I don't know how many songs I wrote for because I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna write X amount of songs for this album. It's just like I just was like writing songs and then I just chose songs. I don't know. I mean, I probably had like double that, and then we dwindled it down to the 12 that we have.
From my point of view, you seem to come in with songs like you would start playing a song that was like always
Could you
great.
sorry,
like,
could you grab that? Sorry, bro.
From my point of view, like you would come in and you'd be playing a song that was fucking awesome, and it made me feel like you were like you like knew like when you'd come in that you liked these ones. So yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, because I think the best way like as a songwriter is like to like you want to be a tastemaker of your own art. So like I try to just over create and then choose what I like from what I create. And not like think too much about like, oh, is this good in the moment of creating it? And so by the time I got to Truman with all these songs, it was just like I had already chosen which ones I thought were the best, and so I was more confident about them in that, right?
That's a super interesting idea.
Oh my god, dude, being me, it was crazy because he just comes in, it's always gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just like, oh my god, like fucking again. Like every time Nick would sit down, I'd just be like, what are we gonna do about this? Like, this is awesome. And I think that was awesome because I do feel like the whole process was hyper inspired, and I think that it started from all these songs that were really inspiring. Like when he would play them just acoustically with vocals, it was really inspiring, and then we just followed that spark the whole way through, and it was always really fun.
Yeah, dude. Working off that. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I hate to do this, but I really have to go.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
I hate to ruin.
You're literally so
the
fun,
here,
dude. You're
I'm
totally
like already
fine.
late.
Oh no, you're totally good. Oh, it's one more question, and then we can wrap it up. No, you're totally good. Okay, cool. Last question then. What do you guys, if you had one message you could like translate through the project, like one thing you hope people understood and got, and you know just took from the project, what do you think that one message would be?
Be vulnerable.
Sure.
I don't know. That's like my own personal thing.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Play for yourself and do it because it's fun and because you love it, and that's it.
For the love of the game.
Yeah, dude.
For the love of the goddamn game, baby.
For the love of the game. Pass
Hell
the rock.
yeah.
Yeah, man.
Pass the rock.
100%. Follow your
Yeah,
heart.
and pass the rock.
Valuable
Pass the
children.
rock.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank
that
you
was
so
a lot
much.
of fun.
That was fun.
Appreciate you sitting down with me. The new record's out
you.
now. Tell them where they can get it, where they can stream it. You got any shows coming up?
Everywhere. We have CDs.
Follow.
I think on maybe
Get on
Bandcamp.
Bandcamp. Get it on Bandcamp.
And maybe shirts
True.
there too.
Yeah.
www.bandcamp.com/valuable children.
Nice. And then where can they follow you?
On Instagram.
www.instagram.com/valuable
I don't think we have a
Children.
Facebook.
Instagram, LinkedIn.
We don't have a
Let's
Twitter.
go.
That's actually not my Instagram.
X.
Fake fan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, bro.
Dude, when you look it up on the App Store, it says formerly known as Twitter now.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, I'm like,
Wow.
shut the fuck up, Elon Musk.
That's so lame.
Chill
That's
out,
crazy.
brother. Anyway,
Fun.
That was a lot of fun. The new record's incredible, guys. It's like one of my literally favorite projects of the year. I adore it. So thank you for sitting down. I really, really appreciate it. And hell yeah. Better for children. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
All right. Music matters.